Welcome. I'm the Parliament Raven. Welcome. Pull up a seat, pour yourself a cup of tea. My name's Jason Rodriguez, and I'm the Parliament Raven. And welcome to episode 1 of this new series. It's called Taming Your Dragon, or in other words, controlling your tongue. Now, I've talked about the power of words previously in other episodes, but today I want to talk about how the power of words can shape and affect your life your very you. The Bible says the tongue is small but mighty. It's dangerous, right? I'm going to look down here. Look, James 3:3-6. Remember, I always use the English Standard Version. Says this: if we put a bit into the mouths of horses so that they obey us, we guide their whole body as well. Look at the ship also, though they are so large and driven by strong winds, they are guided by very small rudders wherever the will of the pilot directs. So also the tongue is a small member, yet boasts great things. How great a forest is set ablaze by such a small fire. A tongue is a fire, a world of unrighteousness. The tongue is set amongst our members, staining the whole body, setting on fire the entire course of life, and set fire by hell. So James really doesn't like the tongue here, but there's two types of fire, right? There's a fire that builds up, that purifies, and there's a fire that destroys utterly. As a Californian, I've seen these my entire life, the destruction utterly, and know that the tongue is that powerful. Bruce Lee would say that the words we say over ourselves have the ability to be a spell or a power that directs our lives. And that's what that's the whole reason we're talking about it here. Like, the tongue is small yet powerful and steers our whole lives. It can cause breaks with people. It can cause connections with people. The things we say over ourselves can, in communication, do something called a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I've talked about that plenty of times. You say you're going to have a bad day, you have a bad day. You say you're going to have a great day, you have a great day, and has that ability to change the direction. But the long-term meaning, the things that we say of ourselves over and over, in teaching, we call that growth mindset. And saying we can't tells our whole body, mind, our whole direction that we are unable to do it. And if we say that we're just learning, that we're going to continue on or move forward, changes the perspective of our mind, our subconscious, and pushes us forward into achieving. And being able to discern when we're doing that to ourselves is just prolific on how we can become successful. That's why the tongue is a dragon, right? You can either slay that dragon and use it for what you need it to do, or it can control you. It can hold you hostage, princess. Right? It'll put you in the princess position where it's holding you hostage. And you'd rather be the overcoming warrior in control of that beast. There's times that controlling our tongue is and not saying anything at all. There's wisdom in silence. Proverbs says, when words are many, transgression is not lacking, but whoever restrains his lips is prudent. And that means that there's plenty of times where people are talking bad about people and you can join in, and that's where you're lacking prudence. You shouldn't, unless you're going to join in to cull the fire that's being there, right? Rumors and stuff and such are hindrances to other people, and they're hindrance to yourself. Like, when you get involved in such things, there is a tick on your conscience, and we are designed as humans to want to do good things, be in the part, and doing something negative and seeing other people fail ultimately leads to our own failure. We call it, people in the world call it karma. We in Christians use the Christianese, we reap what we sow. But the power in that is the mouth. Here's some cool things. Let's bring in some physics. We got to have some science behind our spirituality at times. And if there's plenty of experiments that show that the power of our positive and negative words, that the vibrations that come out of our mouth impact water and physical things. For instance, there's a great experiment in Down the Rabbit Hole, or What the Bleep Is This, where students have two things of cooked rice, and one, they speak positive things. You're good, you're awesome rice. And the other ones, they're like, you're terrible rice, you're horrible. And the one where they were speaking positive maintains and does well. And the one that doesn't immediately starts to shrivel and turn black and degrade and degenerate. And we as humans are 80% water. So how does our words affect us? Not just the words of other people, but your own words. Most of the words that come out about us are from the person that's around us the most, which is ourselves. So we should, instead of speaking curses, and curses are like negative, can be negative things over us, right? I'm going to fail, I'm going to do bad, I'm going to do horrible, I just can't do this, versus, man, I got this, I'm going to overcome it, and even if I fail, I'm going to continue to do it. Speaking those grace of intentions are optimal for not only our success, but for finding joy in our walk, in our quest, in our journey. So you should speak with grace and intention. Colossians 4:6 says, let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt. We talked about salt prior, so that many of you know you ought to answer each other, right? When we sprinkle ourselves and others with salt, there's this healing and there's this reciprocity and there's this holding back of degeneration, like those kids speaking life over that rice. Right, we talked about self-fulfilling prophecies. I'm going to give you some biblical stuff. Proverbs 18:21 says, life and death are in the power of the tongue. Matthew 12:36 says, I'll tell you on the day of judgment, people will give account to every careless word they speak. Now, it's not just careless words about, we assume that's careless words about other people, but that's not just careless words about other people. Those are careless words we say over ourselves, the things that we hinder ourselves. And in life, I know I teach a lot of young people, and getting them to speak positive over self is very hard in a social media driven world today, where they keep seeing either negatives or an algorithm that can either grant life or death. And man, I'm definitely continually talk about what you consume. You need that stuff that speaks life over you, that's positive, that's going to push you forward. And the more negative things you say over yourself, or you start to believe them, and as you believe them, it becomes that self-fulfilling prophecy. You just have to continually bring that back, because that's a proven thing. That's in psychology, that's in communication, that's in science. And I tell you what, if you go out into college, you'll learn those things in Communication 101 or Psychology 101 or Counseling 101, that those self-fulfilling prophecies are something you have to break through with yourself, with other people, so that you can get that success, you can live that life fullest. So I always like ending an episode with a challenge. So what's going to be my challenge? I'm going to turn away from the camera. I'm going to look down here at my notes. Choose one of these areas. Speak life into someone who's discouraged. Avoid gossip or complaining. Man, I already talked about this. Pray before responding, and journal moments so that you can see when you're speaking emotionally to yourself. Is it positive? Is it negative? Journal those moments so that you can do course corrections, right? If the tongue is a rudder and your body's the boat, then you can course correct, right? You're the one in charge of that till, right? You're taming that dragon. You're in charge of that dragon. So let me encourage you to do that. That's the challenge for you this week on this episode. Till next time, pour yourself another glass of tea, and I'll see you soon. Like, subscribe, leave a good comment. Thanks for visiting the Parliament. If you want to know about Gravitas coaching, please visit gravitas.co. It's also where we host the Parliament. Join the conversation on Facebook at the Parliament Raven Podcast. Last but not least, the intro and outro music credits. Intro music by Russ Budgeon and outro music by Sarnav Aravistov.